I heard, go to Walmart. I looked at the girls. I'm like, do you guys need something from Walmart? And they're like, nope. I'm like, well, Mommy's head says that we got to go to Walmart. I remember screaming on a mountain, and I'm like, show me what to do with it or just fucking take it away. And I just heard, so are you ready to surrender? The only way for me to figure it out is for me not to figure it out. If you hang on to something too tight, it doesn't work. The most magical ways come when you don't have it figured out.
Welcome to the Curious Soul Podcast. I'm Cristina Malavenda.
And I'm Marty Go. We're two best friends exploring the deeper meaning of life
and the moments that connect us all.
Hi, Cristina.
Hi, Marty. How's it going?
Really good. How are you doing?
I'm so good because today we get to talk to my intuitive coach, Danielle, who you've also had a session with. And It was amazing, right?
Honestly, life-changing. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it because I'm so excited for everyone to meet her.
So that's so funny because the first time I heard about her, I got goosebumps. So excited. And today we're going to be talking about surrender, which has been something that's been very difficult for me to really grasp and actually do. So first I would like to tell our listeners what surrender is. Can you tell us what can you give us a definition of it?
Yeah, of course. So surrender is the practice of releasing the need to control every outcome and just allowing life, guidance, or deeper wisdom to meet you in that process. It does not mean giving up or becoming passive. It means taking the next honest step, then loosening your grip on how everything has to unfold. In spiritual and intuitive traditions, surrender is often seen as a form of trust. It invites you to stop forcing, listen more deeply, and let yourself be supported by something beyond your own plan.
Yeah. So I am pretty controlling and this is pretty hard for me. But I think with like anything, like the more you keep listening and trying to do things, I think that is the best way to start to really be able to comprehend some of these things that we talk about. And so even though I've been listening to letting it go and surrendering for like over 6 years and trying to manifest things, when I actively started to try to like actually manifest, I guess it's been longer than that with The Secret. But it's just so hard not to feel like you need to do more work, or what is the right amount of work in order to achieve what our goals are. Like, are you good at surrendering?
No. I mean, you can ask Brody, my husband. He is always calling me the boss because I'm controlling.
I guess that's what makes us good producers, that we can, control situations. But I think that like for us to get more relief in our lives and to just feel like we're not like grasping and tensing so much, to just like let things go.
Yes. I like to call it smashing my head against a brick wall. And you can only do that for so long. You can't fight, the brick wall.
Yeah, you can't.
So,
I love that.
yeah.
I love that visual for sure. Okay, so Danielle, let me introduce you to Danielle, the most fabulous intuitive coach I think you'll ever meet. Danielle from Guidance by Danielle is an intuitive spiritual coach who channels a client's higher self, connecting with a soul consciousness that chose this lifetime. Through her work, she helps clients understand their life lessons, soul contracts, purpose, and the deeper themes guiding their path. Her focus is to bring awareness and healing through love, helping clients understand why they are here, what they came to learn, and how their experiences are connected to the ascension of their soul. Each session she has is intuitive, personalized, and guided by what the client's soul is ready to receive in the moment. Now, please welcome Danielle. I am like so ecstatic that we are finally together, because there have been some obstacles to get to this point. And you know what? Like, we talked a little bit about it. And the first time we had to reschedule, Marty and I were able to record our first episode. And then we kept talking about divine timing. and how we were going to come back and say, like, either it was you or me, but I think I figured out maybe why we kept postponing. And even like today in the recording, like my daughter's not feeling well right now. So my parents had to go pick her up and we had to deal with that. And I started thinking about it, and Marty and I are producers. We coordinated like 25 episodes up to this point because we wanted to get as many as we could before launch. And, we only had to really reschedule one. And then I like realized I had this epiphany because in our last session together, our last conversation, you said that this year you were going to teach me about surrender. And I think that like this has really helped me like really like figure out how to like deal with
Let
surrender,
go.
letting go. So I think that's maybe
The
why.
ultimate is, can you surrender? Because here's the thing. When we try to hang on to anything, look at everything as energy, right? If you hang on to something too tight, it doesn't work. And when we realize that you can work with the energies and the universe, you don't have to have it all figured out. The most magical ways come when you don't have it figured out. And what I know for sure about even when things get delayed or switched around, it is always for all parties involved. Always. Always. No matter what, every single time. But how many humans do you think are out there today worried about their timeline?
Yeah.
Stressing about their timeline today. Are they showing up on workout time? Is this going to happen? And this client's going to show up and this and this and this and this and this.
Always.
And then what happens every single time? When it does line up. Oh, this worked out better. Oh, I understand why. How come we have to get to
Right.
that point?
Yeah.
Trust me. Surrender is big. Is big,
Yeah.
big,
It
big.
is.
Don't
Yeah.
hang on to anything. If you hang on to anything tightly, you will lose it.
Know that
So
for sure.
I just think it's also fascinating that like we decided we were going to do an episode of surrender, that we're working on surrender, that there's all these things that are aligned for us to have this conversation. So you are just so amazing to me. I've
And to
learned,
me, you're amazing.
and you have taught me so much. And so I just feel like this hour that we're going to have this conversation, I think our listeners are going to learn so much from you. So I am just like curious, like I know we talked about a little bit about a certain story that I'd love to hear from you, but if there's another story that you feel like would paint what surrender really means and how you really were able to wrap your mind around it, I'd love to hear what that story is.
Well, in my own life, I've had two massive surrendering moments. Two massive ones. Both were completely different for completely different reasons. The first one, well, I was screaming at the universe, God, Buddha, whatever label you want to put it, on a mountain, really pissed off because I couldn't understand why I couldn't help the people I tried to help. And, anybody who knows my background knows that I really thought I was born to see people's grids, what they sign up for before they come, because I thought I was supposed to help veterans. I married a military veteran. And so I'm like, oh, this is why. And I can let them know, like, this is why you signed up for this, and this is what you're going to do, and blah, 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 blah. I didn't save one. Not one. And so it got to the point where I had lost a friend by suicide. And I just thought, like, why even show me then? Why even show me? Like, why? I don't want this. This is like a curse, right? And I remember screaming on a mountain, and I'm like, show me what to do with it or just fucking take it away. And I just heard, so are you ready to surrender? I'm like, yep, I don't care. I'm over it. Done. You just do whatever you gotta do. I'm over it. Right? Literally. I was just like, I don't want to know things about people. Why? If you can't do anything, why would you want to know anything?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why? It's not a blessing. It's not. Right? Anyway, and then so that was the very first time. And then I started all of this because I was washing dishes and my head told me, like, oh, start a page. I'm like, ooh, why? And it's like, because now it's time to help the people who you were destined to help. And I'm like, okay, well, how is that? And I'm like, I don't even know what to call myself. What am I going to call myself? Right? Like, I'm not a psychic. I'm not a reader. Like, what do you call it? And I'm like, I don't even have the name. And my head's like, you already have the name. I'm like, I do not have the name. My head's like, you already have the email. 20 years ago, I made an email, inspire yourself. Why? I don't know. I was pregnant and crazy. Like, I don't even know. And I clearly heard inspire yourself and then inspire the world. Right? So that was the first surrendering. Then I just thought, okay, like if there are people, because I can see in my own grid, and that's a curse too. So I can see that there's certain people that I'm going to play a pivotal moment, even if it's just like one conversation, one time. And you can see on how you're destined to meet that person, then that person, it changes, right? Like in that particular time, right? So it's not even about the individual human. It's about like the part that you've already picked to have an ascension in someone else's life. So you're telling me, you're like, oh, you taught me so much. Well, it's like the chicken and the egg. Did I teach you or were you ready? Did you already know that you had a soul contract with me to come? Think about it. Yeah. Hello. Yes. So again, like, and so what I did is I just
Wait,
kept
before you
saying,
go
like,
too
okay.
far, can I ask you what you mean by when you see the grid? What does that mean?
Wow, so it's hard because I don't actually see it. It's just, here's the thing, as humans, we put labels on it and we try to figure it out. So we use certain words to be able to explain, and sometimes there aren't words to explain. So I can look at anyone, and I know what is their life lesson, what soul contracts do they
Oh,
have, what did they sign up for?
yeah.
What, basically, in a nutshell, what did you pick to learn before you came?
Gotcha. Okay.
So what are the people? Who are the people in your life? Like, we have a lot of free will, but not all of it is. Everybody, every client, when I first meet the client, they're like, "Oh, tell me my purpose." Who says a purpose is a place? Why are we in such a 3D world that purpose is a destination? It's not a destination. Purpose is a feeling. Purpose is a feeling of, I am so happy. I could leave tomorrow and I'm so happy. I don't want to, and I haven't experienced everything that I'd like to do. But right
Right.
now, I am just so purely happy. I know I am where I'm meant to be in this moment. That's purpose. However, if you have it in your, grid, and so grid is just a word that I use because I look at it looks
Okay.
at like
Yeah.
energy lines, right? And so, I believe every single soul has what they've signed to learn. So what is the ascension? If you're like, oh, I want to grow up super poor and I want to overcome poverty. Oh, I got to learn this. So if you want to learn that lesson, well, you're going to sign up first to be poor, to understand what you don't want, to experience then what you do want.
Yeah.
Everything is duality and contrast. How do you know what
Yeah.
the light is if you don't experience the dark? How do you know what love is if you don't experience not being loved? How do you know who you want to be if you don't experience who you don't want to be? My biggest message to
Yeah.
every client is, maybe stop being so hard on yourselves and realize we have to sometimes fail at who we want to be to even know who you want to be. If humans could just stop being so hard on themselves, right? Be your own
Yeah.
best friend. But yeah, so I believe every single soul has signed up to, oh, I want to experience this. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to have people who hurt us, or we wouldn't learn anything or know anything, right?
Yeah.
And so, I knew in my own personal grid what I would do, but trying to figure it out, that's why I want to teach surrender to people is when you try to figure it out, it never goes the way that you think. So just don't even try to figure it out. Like, legit, do
Yeah.
not even try to figure it out.
Mm.
And that was the Brita story I was telling you about. And so that's I listen to my intuition. I know that. I've always known that. I listen to my intuition no matter what. I will believe my own intuition over any human being at all. And the messages are just so clear all the time. And because I was born like this. So it's very easy for me to be like, oh, okay, you want me to go here? I'm going to go here. We all get those messages though. How many times are you driving down a road and it's like, oh, you should turn left, go the other way? And then you don't.
Mm.
And now you're stuck in traffic. Now you're late for work, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, ah, shit, you got the guidance. You just didn't listen to it. We're always
Yeah.
getting the guidance. Our higher self is always talking to us, always. And so, because this is quite normal for my children and I, we were just sitting on the couch one night. It was like 8:30 at night. And I heard, go to Walmart. I looked at the girls. I'm like, do you guys need something from Walmart? And they're like, nope. I'm like, well, mommy's head says that we got to go to Walmart. And they're like, oh, what do you think's at Walmart? I'm like, I don't know. Let's go find out. Like, that's how crazy it is. So then we go to Walmart. It closes in 30 minutes. And I'm walking around Walmart. I'm like, can you guys think of anything that we need? And they're like, no. None of us know why we're at Walmart. But I know that when a message comes that clear, what I've taught myself to do is don't even question it. You'll figure it out later. Who cares, right? The fun is watching how the universe brings it. And so I was at the Walmart and I'm like, great, well, whatever. These people are like announcing for everybody to get the fuck out. So we better go. And I walk out and there is this woman. She's from India. She has a whole bunch of bags. And she looks at me and she says, could you drive me home? I don't have a way home. And I'm like, yeah. And so I'm like, oh, here, me and the girls. Hence why I brought the kids too. That girl had so many bags. She had so many bags. And why she didn't have a cart? I don't know why she didn't have a cart. But anyway, so she's like, I just started working here. And she's like, I didn't know that we don't have buses on Mondays. She's like, I stood here praying. Praying an angel would come and help me.
Oh my
And
God.
I'm like, and she's like, I know that you're not going to believe this. And I'm like, and my kid's like, yeah, she will. It's now just a joke, right? So, and she's like, she gets in the car, she introduces herself. She says she just came here as an exchange student. Her husband and her family
Oh
are
my
there.
God.
Their dad is actually he's like the head of their mosque, right? And so really nice, but very strict religion. Really, really nice lady. And so she had said she's new to Canada. And I'm like, well, I said, I knew I was coming for you to the Walmart. And I said, anyway, I told her, I said, okay, well, like when we get to your house, would you like us to carry them in? And she's like, no, 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 no. I said, I don't mind. Like, we'll carry them in.
Yeah.
And so she's living in this home. And I was actually devastated that this is happening in Canada and in even my own small town of 6,000 people. But she was living in this home and they put a bunch of these exchange students in this house. She had no sheets, no pillow.
Oh.
She had nothing. And I'm like, it's just a room. It's a house full of these. Yeah. Anyway. So I said to her, I said, oh my goodness, I do not have any bedding. And she's like, no, 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 I don't have any bedding. And I said, could I give you bedding? Can I buy you some bedding? And she's like, I'm not allowed. She says, I'm not allowed. She said it's against her religion or her culture to take things unless I had abundance of it. And I'm like, I've got a lot of sheets, man. You want some sheets? Like, I would buy new sheets, but if you don't want like a new bed in the bag, yeah. And she's like, well, if you are not using it, I'm like, those are probably been sitting in the cupboard for like 10 years. Like, yeah, no, you want sheets? I'll give you sheets. So then we struck up a friendship. And I told her, if you ever feel like you need anyone, you did not meet me for no reason. Trust me, I was sent here for you too. Trust me. And I said, and you know what's going to happen anyway? Your head's going to say, oh, I better call Danielle. And then you're not going to call me. But then my head's going to make me phone you anyway. So like, just listen to it. So there were a couple times I gave her some rides. She got stuck, all of this. That's fine. Well, then she calls and she's like, do you have a Brita? And I'm like, a Brita? And she's like, well, I'm not allowed to drink the water. And I'm like, why can't you drink the water? And she's like, well, in my culture, we can't drink. So she's not, or her, I think it was the religion. Not sure if it was culture, religion. Either way, they don't drink water with fluoride or any chemicals in it.
Okay.
And so she's hauling water. And I'm like, I don't have a Brita. I said, but I could buy you a Brita. They're like $30. And she's like, no,
Yeah.
I can't take something from, and I'm like, oh, like,
Too many
okay,
miles.
I'll find out. Maybe somebody has a Brita. So anyway, put her on my Facebook. Nobody had a Brita. That's fine. She phones me. And she's like, I found a Brita on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm like, oh, amazing. And she's like, but it's in the next city. And of course she doesn't drive, right? And I'm like, I said, oh my goodness, guess what? I said, I'm there tomorrow anyway. We got a dentist appointment. I got a dentist appointment. And then I got to go to the following city over because I got to take my girlfriend's son, pick him up from university, get him some blood work at the hospital. We have an appointment. So I'm like, divine timing, amazing, right? And she's like, oh, that would be amazing. And I'm like, yeah, literally, you called me at the perfect time, right? I go there, I message the woman, and she's like, you have to come in the morning. You have to come get this Brita in the morning. I guess she was gone. So that's fine. I go to the dentist and get my cleaning, and then I get in the car and I start driving in the next city. And I'm like, fuck me. I forgot the Brita. Oh my goodness. I'm like, no, Danielle, why? No, oh my God. And I don't have enough time to turn around. I don't have enough time to turn around. And so I message a woman. I'm like, I am so sorry. Could you leave it outside? And she says, no. And now I literally swore at myself the entire drive. And I'm like, how could you do this? How could you do this? I'm like, I have no problems in the whole wide world. Someone is hauling water. Someone is living without a blanket or a sheet. And I forget the fucking Brita. How can you do that? I beat myself up the whole drive. And I just thought, how could you do that? Right? And because we're human. We're human. And I was very much in my human where I was so disappointed in myself that I had one job, Danielle, one job. Pick up the Brita so the woman can drink the water. And meanwhile, it was my birthday in a couple days. And I had that morning thought, I'm going to get me a new journal. New journal. I'm in a 1-year personal year. By the way, I believe everything is energy. Numerology plays a piece too, right?
Yes.
And so I'm in a town where we don't have a bookstore. So I get there and I'm like, okay, well, worst case scenario, I'm buying her Brita and I don't care what she says, right? I just don't know what to say. I was just so mad at myself. And so I get to the city. Well, I have a couple minutes before picking up my girlfriend's son to take him to the hospital. And I'm like, well, I might as well go to the bookstore. I wanted a journal anyway. So I go to the bookstore and I meet this really nice woman. And she had just moved from actually where I'm from, so 12 hours away. She kind of came in hiding. She was in a abusive relationship and she had nobody. And she was not okay. And I said, hey, I'm a life coach and I really specialize in trauma and why people go through certain things. And I said, I would love to coach you for free. And she's like, that would be so nice. And she was just in tears. And she's like, by the way, my name is Brita. And I'm like, what?
What?
And she's like, my name is Brita. And I'm like, and she's like, yeah, like the water jug. And I'm just like,
oh my God.
She's like, my parents weren't hippies. She's like, they weren't. I don't know why they called me that. And I'm like, you just don't even know. And I had to go. So I said, okay. So we hooked up and exchanged stuff. And I walked out and I was just like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. And then I got a ding on my phone from the woman from Facebook. And she's like, oh, I don't have to leave anymore. I'm home all day. Come on your time. And I was just like, oh my God. I literally to my car. I'm like, I'm never going to yell at you again. I was like, wow. I thought I was picking up a water jug, but I actually really needed to meet this other woman named Brita who was not okay. And in that moment, I realized, I'm just not going to ever figure out anything anymore. And I'm really done yelling at myself. I'm just not going to yell at myself anymore. Because it just perfectly lined up. And, this is obviously a crazy story, but every single human has one of these stories. Every single human, right?
Absolutely.
That was just a day where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to figure out anything anymore. And I definitely don't want to yell at myself anymore for not knowing or even trying to figure it out. Why fucking figure it out? I mean, the amount of stress we put on our bodies and our just
exactly
our lives
total unnecessary. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's human. It is human,
Uh-huh.
right? So now what I do is I just like, even when I get into my human, I'm like, ooh, that lady's crazy. Or, oh, she's going through some sad stuff. Or like you look at it, you don't judge it. That's called spiritual
Uh-huh.
bypassing, right? And you also don't
Uh-huh.
you don't judge it because that's wrong on you, right? But you also don't go straight to like love and light because then that's spiritual bypassing,
Uh-huh.
right? And so, like, what would that look like if instead of the whole law of attraction and everybody teaching about, oh, surrender, right? Oh, just surrender. What would that look like if people said, okay, show me, teach me, show me what is the best way for me to understand this?
Uh-huh.
Show me, right? Every one of us have free will and every one of us have the access to getting any assistance from even our higher self, divine, whatever you label you want to put on it, right? Those are just words that we make words, right?
Yeah.
But,
Uh-huh.
you know, if every single human could really pull back and it's like the car keys. It's the best way I can describe it. You're looking for the car keys. You can't find the fucking keys. Do you want to know why you can't find the keys? Because you think they're gone. So as soon as you're like, well, I guess I'm not going to fucking work, and boom, there's the keys. Because now you've surrendered. It's like the
Uh-huh.
same thing. As soon as we don't want something, boom, it comes.
Uh-huh.
Look at how many people, like it's just, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. Why,
Oh
as
yeah.
humans, do we have to get to the point where everything's falling apart? Like, I was
Uh-huh.
really not nice to myself that drive. And it was so, so over the top
Yeah.
dramatic that it was so over the top because in my mind, I'm like, none of your problems matter, Danielle. And there's someone who's hauling water and she has literally nothing and you fucking forget. Like, you
Uh,
forget. And,
yeah.
but then it's like, well, the divine obviously needed me somewhere else in that moment. I still
Yeah.
till this day don't know why I switched so fast and decided to go get that book. I was pretty mad at myself, other than I was meant to.
And also, like, I think it's such a good story and such a good example of all the different emotions and things that people go through that I think that, like, if you weren't screaming at yourself and you were just surrendering in that moment, it wouldn't have been such an important story to tell. And it really helped me because all your stories always help me. I always know like every little piece that you're saying, like I always know, okay, this is going to mean something, this is going to mean something, and maybe not for a really long time.
Yeah.
But there's always some kind of
I know your
But
stories are always right on,
yeah.
having to do with what we're dealing with.
well, you know what's interesting is in a session, I tap into the higher self. And so,
Yeah.
like, if you were to ask me my own phone number, I'll be like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't know because I'm tapped into the client. And so, if I'm getting reminded of a story, it's because somehow, way, shape, or form, it is every single time in some way, a way that when I say they, it's just that energy field, right? So it's like,
Uh-huh.
I use the term higher self, but it is the energy that which is above you. So it's you. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so what happens is like if I'm reminded of a story, it's because this is the best way in terms or in
Yeah.
words, because we're humans, we make the word, right? It's the best way to be able to explain like the energy or what is trying to come through.
Yeah.
It's like people who are mediums, same thing. They're getting like signs and symbols and they're but they almost have to then, you know, like so if I see mediumship, then I would have to relate it to something. 'Cause the
Yeah.
human body, like,
Yeah.
we have
You
more than one brain, right?
you've done that so many times. Like
Yeah.
there was one time that you brought up like the something about not being able to drive past your childhood home. It was so
Yeah.
specific to an issue of mine. Like I cannot
Uh-huh.
drive past
Yeah.
one of my childhood homes, like at all. And
Yeah.
like I started crying and you're like, you need to let that go. And and I was like, no. I realized like it took me a while, but I think this next time that I'm in Florida, I think I might be able to drive past it. And it's been 10
Wow.
years. And I know that
Wow.
I want to move there. And I think that this might help that process. But
Wow.
like, it was so specific. It's like
It's so
everything.
specific. I
Yeah.
remember we did a reading and I hadn't even realized what I was going through because I had just had a baby and I was like re-experiencing the trauma of my abusive father. And you, out of the blue, started telling me a story about your brother. And I was like, oh my God, how did, like, I wasn't like getting in touch with how I was feeling because it was like all triggering, but I was like, no, I'm over it. I've already healed. I'm good. I'm good. And then like you start talking about it, I'm like, I'm not over it. Oh God.
Well, and so here's the thing, and this is what's kind of sad, is like we teach people they have to get over it. You don't, right?
Yeah.
But the goal is to not let it all consume you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you know when energy needs to be surrendered and let go is if it is affecting your life. So like your
Oh, I have a
relationships,
question about that.
your
Okay.
well-being, your mental health, your physical health, all of it, right?
Mhm.
That's what I call like an energetic block. If it's where energy is frozen and it's not moving, right? But we have some
Yes.
good ones, right? Like the day you have your
Yes.
kids. I want to remember that day, okay? When I am so mad at them, I want to be like, I love these guys. I remember that time that I held them for the first time. Oh yeah, okay. Like honestly, you want to pull yourself into happiness as well. But what happens is when we have stuff that's subconscious, it is
God, yes.
easier as humans to tap it down and to put it down. And so, Marty, you may in that session with me may not have even understood. But
Mhm.
just what if in
Yeah.
that moment, you're humans like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go meet Danielle because somebody said tell me Danielle, right? And you're like, oh, okay, Danielle, let's talk about this. And your own higher self is like, hey, we don't want to bring this energy. And some of it's generational for you, right? We don't want to bring this energy into your
Yes.
new life, right?
Mhm.
And what if you were the person that was destined to heal it anyway? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
do you remember how I said I was screaming on a mountain? Because
Yeah.
like I
Yes.
wanted to save
Yes.
military veterans for a very, very long time. I really thought that's what I was destined to do. Because I saw myself in my grid and there was a lot of people I was helping.
Yeah.
Well, I just assumed veterans, right? That's who I was around. Anyway, but what happened is in that moment when I surrendered and I said, just fucking show me. Just show me or take it
Yeah.
away. Like I'm done. I am
Yeah.
done. Just show
Yeah.
me. And then when it said like, are you ready to surrender? When that happened, I realized that the only way for me to figure it out is for me not to figure it out, to
Hmm.
go through what I was destined to go through. Right. And so I look at like, obviously I'm human, so I'm going to get my pity party and I'm going to be like, what? I have 8 siblings. Why can't I help them all? And my head always says, I always hear the same thing. Never underestimate the seed that is planted.
Hmm.
And so I also, due to like my, ex relationship, I'm like, well, why can't you fix it or help then? And I realized when we try to fix and save people, what then happens is we actually rob them of the experience that they
Mm.
have signed up to learn.
Oh, that's hard to hear.
Well, it is hard to hear, especially when, like for me,
You
what
just
I
wanna
struggle
help
with
so
is,
badly.
yeah, I know. And that's why humans, like, we can never understand why did we go through what we went through,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? If we could understand that maybe, just maybe, it's not meant to be like, some will understand why they went through what they went through, okay?
Yeah.
Some won't. And that is each individual's own ascension if they figure that out or not. That's why I don't like the spiritual industry when it says people are supposed to awaken. We're already fucking awake. Like, hello, we're already pure love. We've literally come here to learn shit, and you got to learn through the hard to learn the good. but we don't have to
Yeah.
be any better. We're completely whole. Every
Mhm.
human is equal, right? And so why you want to get rid of things is when it's no longer serving you or there was a reason
Yes.
for you to learn that. So in that moment, Marty,
Yes.
that would have changed how you were as a parent moving forward from that very moment. But you also, you would not have got that message if you were not already a vibrational match to receive it.
Yes.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we keep going, if this conversation is resonating with you, please take a second to like, subscribe, or share it with someone who might need to hear it. It really helps us reach more curious souls, and honestly, this is exactly why we wanted to create this show.
Yes. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, send it to them. They might be meant to hear this too. You were talking about generational trauma and not just like necessarily releasing it, but letting go. So I just, when you were talking about all that stuff, last night, this is the first time it's ever happened. Middle of the night, my trapezoids were like contracting and in so much pain. And we did this like interview like a few weeks ago, and this lady who could see auras was like literally like I was sitting here normally, and she's like, "Oh, you have generational trauma, and it's through your mother and through your trapezoids." And I was like, "What? How did you know that? Oh my god!" And out of nowhere, in the middle of the night, it started last night, and I started having dreams. Oh, I have to release this trauma. And I'm like, how do I do that? I don't know how to do that. Do you have any advice?
First, let me explain to you what that means. Okay? Because I think when people find out that they break a family line, they get really scared. And then they're like, oh my God, how do I get rid of it? Why did I do that? What if I fuck up? What if I don't do it? Yeah, right? Like they get into their
Uh-huh.
human. Or they
Uh-huh.
get so scared that they're not going to break it. And the amount of pressure that gets put on the human is bad, right? I
Yeah.
would only in a session tell someone if they, again, were a vibrational match to know, right? But let me
Mm-hmm.
explain to you what that means first. So,
Uh-huh.
our soul, okay, we are just a fragmentation, okay? We're just a fragment. And so like your own self is still watching over loved ones from other lifetimes. You're just a fragment, right? So like what you actually are is like yay big, right? We think it's
Yeah.
all this, it's not all this, right? And so what happens is the individual soul is like, hey, I'm going to come to earth and I want to learn this. So, oh yeah, that person's going to help me. And then, hey, let's sign up and I'm going to be the bad guy this time. You be the good guy. And, I think we all kind of know that anybody in the spiritual industry understands that part. What is a generational attachment? Now, what I believe a generational attachment is when you have a pod of people who are like, oh, we want to learn that same thing. Oh, okay. If we all take it on, and then you're going to have that healer come in around the 7th generation with the free will. We always have free will to get it. Oh, okay. Think about if you all take on the same thing, it's going to then enhance way more than if just the individual soul is like, hey, I'm going to learn this, right? So sometimes when I tap into a session, I do see every single person has an individual life lesson. How I can explain that is look at the common denominator in your life, not what is easy, but what is hard. Right? Do you
Yeah.
always have relationship problems? Do you always have self-worth problems? Do you always have like, that kind of stuff, right? And then you
Mhm.
can understand slightly, hey, if it's a common denominator, this is obviously an overall theme. So I'm going through it for a reason, right? A generational thing is where then you can see, like in your case, all the women above you would have had something similar. And
Yeah.
then that person that comes to break it, you're no better than, say, the women that didn't break it. What
Yeah.
you are is the one who's like, ooh, okay, so my soul's going to learn from everything that you guys learned, and then I'm going to do the
Yeah.
opposite. So I'm going to then break it for the 6 generations below, right?
Yeah.
The person who was the first person to sign up for that is just as important as the person who heals it, just as important. Like, do you
Oh.
know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah, of
And
course.
so
Yeah.
why we sign up for that isn't, you know, oh, well, yeah, all these generations of women had to go through this same thing and I'm going to be the one that's going to break it. No, it's you've all decided. So look at your own individual, like, I'm going to learn this, and then look at a
Mhm.
generational breaker as we're
Mhm.
all going to learn this, and then it amplifies it. So if
Oh, yeah.
everything is ascension and
Ah.
everything is energy. Nikola Tesla said this.
Yeah.
It's so great. If you look at everything as energy, you'll understand everything. And so
Mhm.
what if, just
Yes.
what if, we decide to go through certain energy frequencies? And it's like, oh, okay, so this frequency, like there's people that talk about this, right? Esther Hicks talks about the different frequencies,
Yeah.
right? But what if, just what if experiences are the exact same, right? And so when you sign up for something to go through, that doesn't mean you deserved it. It doesn't mean that it was okay. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that it did not create real trauma. We are a human being. We are a being, but we are a being having a human experience.
Mhm.
Therefore, we must be both. And that human, we
Mhm.
are mammals. We are mammals. We have fight, flight, freeze. That is human, right? In the spiritual industry, it's just like, oh, just think positive. What? No, we don't want to
Right.
kibosh the ego. You need the ego. Bear's chasing you. You want to run. Okay, like we need the ego. Just and it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to even have these moments where you would have been
Yeah.
feeling, Marty, where the reason it was even coming up. So the first person would have planted the seed. Okay.
Mhm.
And so it's just like our first session, like in our session, that's a seed then. Okay. So from that moment on, you cannot unknow what you know. So
Mhm.
what if, just what if? Because we are in a universal 1 year. We are in 2026. Everybody gets a new beginning. What if the reason
Mhm.
it's literally coming up is because now it is time? So instead of sitting there being
Mm.
like, I need to get rid of this, be like, oh, I believe that this is now time. I am the one to break it. Right. And so
Mhm.
we have to understand, because we are human, we have a nervous system. We are human. We have a physical body, and we're just energy, and it's current coming through our body. So it's just like knots, like
Yeah.
same thing. That's what it is. And so the fact that you had it here, do you want to know what that means? Do you want
Hmm.
to know why you have it in your shoulders? Did that woman
Yeah,
tell you why
definitely.
specifically?
No.
Okay, so here's why. And someone like Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. I bet you if
Mhm.
you were to dig out that, I bet you it's somewhere around there. But the
Mhm.
reason it's in the shoulders is because you feel the weight of everything on your shoulders.
Mm.
So there's a
That
pressure of
definitely
you where you're like, your soul is like,
checks
hey,
out. Yeah.
Marty, you signed up to learn this and you're the one that's helping everybody else. And right now you're ready.
Yeah.
So it's nothing to fear. It's something to be like, okay, what are you trying to show me? Just like when
Ah.
we have pain and things in our body, it's like,
Yeah.
if you look at it and be like, okay, where is energy stuck? Where do you need talking
Yeah.
to? Like after my
Yes.
hand surgery, I had to talk to my physical hand and
God.
say like, you're okay.
Oh my God, you just
It's safe to be
yes.
okay. You're not going to get hurt again. This
Yes.
person's not going to hurt you again. Right. And so sometimes
So
we block
okay.
things in the body. Like, okay,
Okay.
here's an example. I had my arms broken. Very, it was an incident, and they had put metal plates in. And so, in that moment, I'm like, oh, I'm calling VA to get my, ex-husband help. Like, I was like, oh, we're going to save this guy. Right. I wasn't mad. I was like, oh, someone needs help. Like, if you can hurt someone and not even know that you did it, okay, you're not okay. Right. And so, like, I didn't fully process it. What I did is I went into survival mode because we're humans. Right.
Yeah.
And so 12 years later, we took the plate out. And I don't know why my head just literally said, like, you don't need it no more. And I'm like, okay, right. And so, I was also losing some circulation. And so when the first incident happened many, many years ago, I mean, I look at it like, look how strong I am. Like, I look at the scars of like, wow, like this is where I really stepped up and like, I just begged to help this person. Right. And so, but years later, when my life is so settled down and things come out when your life is settled, because then what happens is your
Yeah.
nervous system
It's
finally
calming
comes down and
down.
you're like, okay, the human is safe, right? So
Yes.
humans are
Yes.
really good to be in survival, right? So it's like, again, a bear
Yeah.
is fucking chasing you. You don't need to worry about that stuff. And so what happened is when they took the plate out, I just broke down. And I was like crying. I'm like, I can't believe this person did this to me. I loved him so much, like human, right?
Oh
And I'm
my
like,
God.
wait, why
Yeah.
am I even worried about this? And then what
Yeah.
happened is I wasn't healing. And I lost
Mm.
all, this was only 2 years ago. I lost all feeling to all the fingers. And it was interesting because I'm like, okay, what are you teaching me? Because I
Yeah.
don't feel like I suppressed it.
Yeah.
However, I do know I didn't go through all the human emotions. And to be human, you must go through all the emotions. So
Yes.
you're going to go through the like, wow, it wasn't right that this happened. I didn't get there. That's the human. I went to more the higher self of like, hey, this happened. We're going to get you better. Done, man. Like, that's it. You're going to get better. Like,
Yeah.
you're a
Yeah.
good person inside. So you're going to get better.
Yeah.
I didn't go to the human. And to the human, you would be like, sorry, this happened to you. You didn't deserve that. That's really traumatic, right? Like
Yeah.
that is like, it's really sad that that happened. And so it wasn't healing. And the doctor, she knows me pretty well, the surgeon. And she's like, Danielle, what do you think this means? I said, I think my body has yet to understand that it is safe. So even though my
Wow.
mind is there, my heart is totally there. What about the human in the
Yeah.
vessel? What about the
Yeah.
energy? So think about it. When you open up a
Yeah.
bone, which we have, bone marrow, right? So
Yeah.
you are literally opening up something, right? And
Yeah.
so you're tapping into something. Like people just go way too spiritual and they don't find the mix. So when I started saying like, it's safe to move. Sorry, this
No,
happened to you.
no,
Like
no.
speaking to it as though I would speak to my own child. If my child went through
Oof.
something, I wouldn't higher self my kid and be like, that happened for a reason. That person was meant to hurt you. Fuck no. Fuck no. What I would do is be like, you didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
You didn't deserve that. It is so sorry that you
It's
went
gonna make
through
me
that.
cry.
Right? And so
Mm.
so what happens is now it is coming up for a reason because now it's time to heal. Now it's time where it's like, okay, you learned what you needed to learn. You no longer need it. Right? Instead, what we do is we punish the
I just
pain.
had a
We
huge
punish the
realization.
emotions.
Huge.
We're like, I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to be mad. I'm over this. What? You're human. Come on. If it's still
Yeah.
in there, you're in there for a reason.
So I
It's
just
like,
want to say what you said back there was like, you're holding the weight.
yep.
My mom always said growing up, dealing with my dad was a burden and this was her cross to bear in life.
Yeah.
The
And isn't that
abuse.
interesting on how it's an actual
And
cross?
I
I could
did
get
that
into stories
too.
about crosses. Yeah.
Holy shit. Yes. Oh my
And so what
God.
if, just what if,
Oh my God.
what if, just what
Oh,
if she
Jesus.
genuinely felt that? And what if, just what if now we have a really amazing blue moon in a couple of days. Okay. What if you just wrote a letter to yourself, right? To the human first. Always go human first and then go, right? This is where people just are not teaching this. People just got to be teaching this. Like, right? You want to talk to the human to settle down the nervous system to move the energy in the vessel. We are a human being. We have a body. We have a vessel, right? And so what I would recommend doing is saying like, sorry that you went through this.
Yeah.
Sorry that you were programmed from very, very early to have this weight literally on you. Okay. And what you want to do is you want to talk to it without taking an identity on. So do not use an I, do not use an I am. Okay. Ever.
Yeah.
However, so you would say, it isn't fair that this was the upbringing. It wasn't fair to see those things. It wasn't fair to be told constantly that this weight is to be bared. It wasn't fair that this happened. It wasn't fair that this person hurt me. It wasn't fair that I couldn't be seen. I couldn't speak. I couldn't everything. And what you do then is you transfer the energy. And why we want to write it down is because everything is energy and everything is frequency. So when we take it from here and here, and we literally transfer it, and I want people to get mad, get sad, be fucking human. Be human, right?
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to be all Christ consciousness all the time. Like, don't hurt people. That's bad. With intent. It's probably not good, right? Don't take your shit out on other people, but humans do that. We could do a whole class on that, right? But honestly, write out everything that wasn't right. And then say, like, I do surrender this because I can't change it, but I'm no longer going to hang on to this energy in my body, in my heart, in my soul, at all. I am very good at forgiving people. And I mean, obviously, I'm born to see people's stuff, so it's a little bit easier. Okay. So like, it is. It's easier when I can see why people go through things. And people,
Yeah.
what I have learned is people who are hurt others.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, not on purpose, but sometimes actually on purpose. Sometimes people have actual intent, right? And here's the thing. It is okay to not have people in your life, right? That is okay. What is not okay for you to pay the price of what happened to you. And unfortunately, most humans are doing that. Most humans are paying the price and a lot of humans don't forgive themselves. Okay. Like my Brita story. I literally was like, oh gosh, Danielle, you're ridiculous. I forgive myself. Right? I'm never going to try to figure out anything ever again. Right. It was just so over the top. Right. And like, even in this moment, like with my hand, I was like, wow, I just went straight to like, why did it happen? How can we make it better? How can I save this person? Instead of talking to the own human. Right. And so what happened? The body froze until I acknowledged it. Because without the awareness, you cannot move the energy. So that's coming up, not because it's like, Marty, you better do this or you're fucking failing. That's not why it's coming up, babe. It's coming up because it's like, hey, babe, we're going to raise all that energy that's suppressed within, and now we're just going to let go. So when you write that all down, get mad, get sad, get everything, write it down, fucking burn it, done. And then just know, like, it's done. We make it so much harder than it has to be. Humans, we're ridiculous. But we are ridiculously funny.
Danielle, you make everything, like, it's so interesting because you embody everything that you just said about, like, going through all the motions because, like,
you have to.
Things that affect you, but you just, like, you also just have this, like, sense of, like, turning things into, like, fun and like learning from it. And so it's like you like just I could see you going through all the emotions.
This is a huge, huge realization. Like, yes, thank you. You're incredible.
I'm just a middle person. When people are like, "Oh, you did this," I didn't do anything.
You are like,
think about. Remember what I said earlier about just like with divine timing, for everyone must play right. So think about this. So what if I'm just a middle person? But you had to use your own intuition to speak to me in the first place anyway. You had to go with your own guidance where it's like, hey,
Jesus,
this is time, right?
There's some magical shit going on.
I'm just someone that has learned to surrender, to not try to figure it out. But I also had to go years of trying to figure it the fuck out. Did you know what I mean? I had to go years of trying to fix and save people and not fix them. That's not the word. Sorry, that's not the word. I want to explain to people, why did you go through this? Please don't suffer anymore. Do you know when energy needs to be released?
When?
So some energy we don't want to release. Okay, like I gave the example earlier. I want to remember the day I had those girls, okay? Because when they piss me off, I'm going to want to remember. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to be like, I love my kids. I love my kids. I love my kids. Oh, yeah. I remember when I held them for the first time and their little tiny hand touched my finger, right? Like trust me, if I want to forgive my kids, I pull up a photo of them the day they were born. That pulls me right back into life. And specifically the day they were born, because that is pure consciousness. That is pure love, right? Anybody who has held a newborn for the first time, you'll never get that feeling again. right? Go get married, win the lottery. None of that shit matters, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great, but not that feeling. The
Yeah.
reason why when we hold a newborn is because that is the closest to that which frequency that we actually are. So that frequency is home.
Wow.
So that child is born,
feels
the life lesson isn't there yet. It's
totally
just pure
right.
Christ consciousness, right? And
Yeah.
when I say Christ
Yep.
consciousness, I just mean unconditional love, that which we actually are,
Yes.
right? And so what happens then is you have to almost be a frequency match. When things need to go, what happens is if it's something good, we want to keep it because we want to go back into those memories to reset our nervous system, right?
Yeah.
Pull yourself back. I teach my clients this. This is called pattern shifting. Why do you think music is so big for people? Right? Because they
Yeah.
can pull themselves out. So our good memories, great. Okay. When it is something that is hard, when you know that it is still an energy within your body, and the reason we want to transmute it and surrender it is because we make ourselves sick, guys. Like our human body, we are
Yes.
energy, right? And so if you don't forgive yourself, other people, all of that stuff, and doesn't mean forgive other people like what they did was okay or that you have to have them in your fucking life. You do not. Absolutely do not. Okay, that's toxic, right? But what it is you know that it has to be something that you want to work on when? Well, if you can think back to the moment and it's almost like your body goes back there. So, like if, say, someone hurt you and they said something that really hurt you, if that moment you could tell someone that story, and if you're telling them that story and you're getting mad or you're getting
Yeah.
sad, that's your body saying, hey, we're hanging on to an energy that please don't hang on to this energy.
Yeah.
Yes, that happened. It's not okay that it happened, but your physical body is hanging on to it.
Yeah.
Right. And so like I really have a problem when it comes to like the spiritual industry when people are paying people to remove blocks. I don't believe that works. I don't think we can just
Yeah.
buy our way out of anything. You have to acknowledge, you have to be aware, you have to speak to it. Speak to the human, right? I really think,
Yeah.
Marty, try this and you're not going to have a problem on
I'm
your
gonna do
shoulders
it.
anymore. Trust me.
I'm gonna do it. This is like
Yeah.
so mind blowing. Everything that you're saying, it was so accurate when you were saying about the veterans and how you thought that you could help them and just giving it away because I have really, really close friends who are going through abuse just like my mom. And I feel I can't change anyone.
No.
I can't help
But you know
anyone.
how we can
And
help people? Do you know what I do?
what?
So, by the way, Marty, I don't know if you remember, but you and I had the exact same upbringing. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. We must see others in the best energy. So if
Yeah.
you want to help someone who's struggling, see them as not struggling, see them as getting help, getting better, right? Like see them as the best version of them. That's how we can help people.
Yeah.
Right? And then go with that guidance, go with that intuition. You're meant to like me, I was sitting on the couch. My head's like, go to Walmart. I thought I was getting ice cream, maybe. And then I went there. I didn't want the ice cream. Right? Like you don't
Yeah.
know. Right? It's how do we get all humans here? Right? So that we
Yeah.
don't have to hang on to the pain anymore. The biggest thing I have noticed is that people struggle to forgive themselves. We think we're
Yeah.
delayed. We think that we should have done something different or should have done more, should have done less or whatever, right? So the people who are still in it, right, in your life, you are not helping them. Just like I said, I wasn't helping anybody by trying to tell them, this is why you signed up for this and this is what you're supposed to
Yeah.
do and blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. And this relationship is actually going to hurt you a lot like that's not helping anybody. They weren't coming to
Right.
me. They weren't
Yeah.
anything. I was just trying to
Yeah.
figure out who the fuck I was and why I knew this shit. Right?
Yeah.
Right? And so here's the thing. If you see them as doing good, you're helping them just by seeing a version of them. And the more that you see that, the more that the universe then can change that.
It's very powerful.
So
Yeah.
so do we
Yeah.
help people by seeing them as sick? Or do we help people as seeing them as well, even if they're sick?
Right.
I will only see my ex-husband as well,
Yeah.
period, because you're still a soul.
Yeah.
Again, that doesn't mean having people in your life. What it means is, okay, in a nutshell, is it easy to love somebody lovable? Is it easy to love someone who doesn't hurt you?
Yeah.
Yeah, super fucking easy, right?
Yeah.
Can you love the unlovable, and can you love somebody that hurt you despite the hurt?
That's
Can you
hard.
find
Yeah.
love in the lesson, love in the experience, love in the thing?
I think that's so important to
Yeah.
But not for the other person,
remember.
for
Yeah.
you, and for you to not hang on to you, because we are just
Yeah.
one anyway. So when then you heal, you actually heal the
Yeah.
world. And so the reason
Yeah.
I always bring it to a
Yep.
fun level, and I learned the Brita
Yeah.
day. I literally learned the Brita day. I'm like, fuck, that was fucking fun. That was fun.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
every emotion. And then I'm bawling my eyes out walking to the car. I'm like, and I was so happy over a
Yeah.
fucking water jug, guys. Like over a water jug.
It's
But
amazing.
I was so happy because I thought, if I turned around or I would have went back, I wouldn't have met this woman who I have a lot of experience with what she was going through.
Yeah.
This is a person who's come here in hiding. Do you know what I mean? A person who right? But like my human. And yeah, from that day, I'll do whatever my intuition says and I'm going to figure out nothing. Fuck, I'm going to figure out nothing. And I never, ever do. I never do. That doesn't mean I'm not human. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean there
Yeah.
aren't days where you're sad or you're mad or, I always laugh at my Hulk. I'm like, ooh, Danielle, that, that Hulk human, wow, she's absolutely ridiculous. Literally. I'm like,
That's
but can we laugh at ourselves?
Yes.
Can we
I
learn how
hope
to
so.
do
That
that? Can we learn how to
Yes. Yes.
forgive and understand?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You know,
I am
I
doing this full moon thing that you're talking about because
well, so the reason I think that we can surrender energy at any time, absolutely any time. The reason,
yeah.
I mean, they've been talking about full moons and new moons forever. Okay. The Mayans
Yeah.
were researching all of that. Is think about it. So, what do we know about the moon? And this isn't a fucking spiritual thing. This is like legit. What do we know about the moon?
it controls the tides.
It controls the
Yeah.
tides. What are
Yeah.
we? We're water.
Water.
We're water
Yeah.
and energy.
Yeah.
So, the reason I would recommend doing it on that is, I don't know, they've been doing it for thousands of fucking years, so it must work. Like
Yeah.
for me, I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna do
Yes.
what those guys did. But even if you look at the farmer's almanac, they're like, oh, plant the vegetables that grow under the ground from this time to this time, the new moon to the full moon
Yeah.
or whatever, and then the other
Right.
one, the vegetables that grow above from this to this, right? I don't know. It's like when I ask for guidance and assistance, I'm just gonna ask everybody. like I learned that why struggle? Why struggle? We don't have to.
Yeah.
We think
Yeah.
that we're here to. And I mean, we could do a whole episode on how people think that they have to awaken. I do not believe that in any way, shape, or form. Right? What if we're here to experience something and we're here to
Yeah.
transmute it and we're
Mhm.
here to see the love in it,
Yeah.
right? And that's where they talk about, even the Bible, Jesus, if you know me, it doesn't actually mean, being, following, right? I mean, yeah, if that is who you follow, 100%, right? Believe in something
Yeah.
bigger than you. We all should,
Yeah.
right? Whatever
Yeah.
that is, it doesn't matter, right? Because that's how we get energy. Okay.
Mhm.
So we are electrical human beings with a vessel. So you want to get energy from the ground. Okay. So, because we're Earth, we're here to experience
Yeah.
Earth. And then this is the cross, by the way, that you're talking about. And then you get
Yeah.
energy from that which is above you. Believe in anything, universe, star. I got a kid studying astrophysics. Okay, cool. Believe in science, believe in space. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She believes in
Yeah.
energy fields. She
Whatever you
believes
call
in
it. Yeah.
frequency. She doesn't believe in this. She doesn't need to. Nor do I need to teach her what to believe in. Whatever she believes is just as accurate as what I believe. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Same with every religion.
Yeah.
The problem is humans steal energy from each other.
Mhm.
So first, it starts within because we are the I and we are all, right? So where are
Mhm.
you hanging on to energy? What can be surrendered? Okay, what doesn't serve you anymore? What can you surrender? So if we're going to talk surrender, the first thing I would say is go within. Where are you hanging on to something? Lots of people are saying, they teach this, like, where am I holding on to something? Okay, well, let's stop asking where and start asking, why am I hanging on to this? What is this showing me? I had a client who had a rash on her face. Every dermatologist, everything, nobody could, it was just beautiful. Oh my gosh, just beautiful. She's still beautiful. She's beautiful. And I said to her, so what are you hiding from the world? Start telling yourself that you're allowed to be seen. She had some trauma where she wasn't allowed to be seen, right? It's like one of those things. Kids are supposed to, be seen, not heard, blah, 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 right? So she couldn't ever be herself and now came out in like, it just literally covered everything. I told her, like, start speaking to yourself. Literally touch yourself and be like, you're so beautiful. You're allowed to be seen. You're perfect. Do you know she healed it within weeks and she's never got it again? And fun
Wow.
fact, she just met her person. I know. But anyway, and she went to doctors, to creams, to creams. I'm not saying we don't need doctors and stuff. What I'm saying is there is also subconscious. A lot of times it's built, right? So surrender within what's within first. Then I would recommend start surrendering your day to day. Say, like, I always say, this is what I say. I love it because it's so fun. I'm like, show me how this all works. Show me where I need to be, right? Like, I'll be like, if there's someone I can help, show me. But I make it very clear, show me in fun and exciting ways. Show me. Because, like, I want shit to be fun, okay? Life is hard enough. I want to fucking laugh. I want to laugh my ass off, right? Like, that day with the Brita, I was mad, I was sad, I was fucking not okay. Okay, I was not okay. And then I cried because I had pure joy and pure happiness. And then even the drive home after I took him for, his appointment, even the drive home, I'm like, oh, that was so funny. I literally then drive home and I'm like, wow, like that was so
That was like a
crazy.
treasure hunt.
I
Yes.
know. And like, but it was also every human emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is the emotions that are really worth it? Where we can laugh at
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
I really recommend anybody who, if you have a big freak out, just like pull yourself for 2 seconds and be like, my human's so funny. Because we are, but we're meant to be human. Let's not judge it, right?
I realized one of the reasons why we recorded this episode today after having to reschedule a bunch of times is because, Marty maybe would have had that feeling the night before anyways, but
It's
like
never
the fact
happened.
the fact that you had that feeling last night
Yeah.
and like now we're able to like talk it through
And just like my brain is like blown right now. I'm trying to piece it all together. I'm so excited to do all the things you just said. And I just hope that yes, and I just hope that I just hope that everyone who hears this is able to apply it to whatever they're going through, because we all go through something. And
Okay,
it's
so
like,
here's the thing. If they heard this, then they were meant to hear it. And not only were they meant to hear it, because it would have resonated with something that they themselves always. Remember what I said, everyone has to be a frequency match. So if anyone is ever listening to this, there is something within that they need as well.
Yes.
Or else they would never be guided to it ever. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Just like when you talked about, so like people, okay? I can live in a very small town and run into people from, say, my past, because that version isn't even a real version anymore. So it's almost like a different timeline. However, it's the same. Like, have you ever gone through something and then like, doesn't feel like that happened and it doesn't feel like this lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And so when I say, okay, see the good in people, well, what do you do if they're not on that timeline or that not timeline? That's not the word. See, I'm being corrected. That's not the word. What if they're not on that page? What if you're seeing someone as really doing good, being happy, everything? Now, that energy, sending them that energy will help them, obviously. But if their human is still stuck in their human stuff, then you're no longer a frequency match. So you would never even ever run into that person, ever.
Wow.
You would not, because it's not
Yeah.
possible. Because if the version of them that you see is this, and they are currently not on that radio station, that frequency,
Oh,
right? So if
God,
I'm
this
sending
makes
love to
so
someone and
much
I'm seeing them as just,
sense.
do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why we're more important than we
Yes.
know. So instead of everyone walking around and be like, "Ha, that person did that and they did that." Okay, well, what would that look like if we all go through the emotions? Okay, I'm not taking that away. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that. But what I'm saying is, then how can we help heal everything, which is the
Oh,
world, which is the
this is blowing my
collective?
mind.
It starts within and then without. Well, like my head said, inspire yourself and then the world. Literally. See, full
Yeah.
circle. Like,
Yeah.
This is amazing. This is amazing.
Danielle, like, I think I've sent 10 people to you, and every single one of them,
Yes.
the sessions have been incredible. So I don't even
This
have
is
words
amazing.
to describe.
I
well, I
really
have a feeling that
don't.
we're going to do this quite a bit, so it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
There's so many different episode ideas. So I know that there's so much more that I want to talk about, and we're just so grateful to have had this conversation today. Thank you
So
so
grateful.
much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're literally changing my world right now.
Okay, but what if you yourself manifested me and you yourself are changing your own world?
I think there's definitely a
Yeah.
relationship of that happening.
So
Yes.
can you bring yourself to thank yourself and be like, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for hearing
Thank
that.
you.
Right?
Yes.
Like, thank you.
Yes.
Like, even yourself. You want to thank your human and be like, Marty, thank you so much for even just being aware to listen to that and to know
Yeah.
within what I need to do
Yeah.
now to no longer hang on to it.
Damn.
Right? 'Cause we
Yes.
always, it's like our best friend, right? Humans are harder on
Mhm.
ourselves and we don't give ourselves enough praise and everything. You must look at the human as an inner child, right?
Yeah.
So you can say, oh, thank you, Danielle, but you would have created this conversation as well,
Mhm.
just as equally as me, or else we
Yeah.
wouldn't be in it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So therefore, you should be
Absolutely.
thanking yourself as well. That's
Thank you,
where we
Marty.
forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Thank you,
love it.
Danielle.
I like making people speechless. It's funny.
Please like and share.
And you can subscribe at thecurioussoulpodcast.com for all things curious.